Hey, what's going on, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over Anthony Richardson, the most polarizing player in the 2023 NFL Draft Class, one of the hardest evaluations to date. But, really fun player, extremely raw, but let's break Anthony Richardson down in this video. Let's get right into it. Alright, Anthony Richardson is a quarterback out of Florida, 6'4", 244 pounds per the combine measurements. He was a redshirt sophomore at Florida, played 1 year at starting quarterback, 21 years old as of May 22nd in 2001. His stats in 2022 were very interesting because a lot of people saw it as a big disappointment. 12 games, 2,549 passing yards, 7.8 yards per attempt, 17 touchdowns or passing touchdowns to 9 interceptions. Not a great ratio, but importantly, he had a 53.8 completion percentage on 327 attempts, which is extremely low at any level. He did have a QBR of 84.3 and a passer rating of 131.0. Those are both around average numbers for the collegiate level, but did have 654 rushing yards on 103 attempts, 6.3 yards per carry, and 9 rushing touchdowns. Had multiple rushing touchdowns of 40-plus yards as well. Now look, Anthony Richardson is flat out raw. He's a raw prospect. He's not extremely developed, had 1 year as a starter, but let's start off with his strengths. He's a one-on-one athlete, had a 10.0 RAS score, relative athletic score. He's a 4.4, or he has 4.4 speed at the quarterback position. He is a quick and live and strong arm. He has good pocket awareness and has great pocket mobility. He's an elite runner. He's also good at scanning the field, and he has a great build for a quarterback at 6'4", 240-plus pounds. Now, he has a lot of tools that a lot of scouts like. 1, very good and live. He's a strong and live arm. 2, phenomenal athlete, and he has great pocket mobility and great pocket awareness. Those are really good things that people like. But then you look at the quarterback weaknesses. Bad college production. Had 3,000 total yards in 3 years, if you include his redshirt year, which I'm not. He had 24 touchdowns to 15 total interceptions passing. He had a 55 career completion percentage at 55%, which is extremely low. He has poor throwing mechanics. He's the all-arm thrower and fades a lot into throws. It's the Zach Wilson problem, a.k.a. off his back foot way too much, just trying to heave it with his arm and sling it like a baseball player. Pre-snap recognition, he also struggles at times to read defenses, just doesn't have a lot of experience overall. I mean, when we look at his stats, we can see a few things. We have, in his first 3 games, of course, against 2 ranked opponents, he had 0 passing touchdowns and had 4 interceptions in his first 3 games. However, did have that incredible game against Utah where he had 3 rushing touchdowns. Now, his rushing ability, phenomenal. Had multiple rushing games over 100 yards. Had very good games on the ground. But passing, different story. Multiple games with 0 yards and 2 interceptions. But he did get a lot better throughout the season and progressed. We see 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and the similar thing. But those were against a lot weaker opponents. Vanderbilt, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, all teams that did not have great years. Did have a solid performance against Georgia, of course, and had a great has his best rushing performance against LSU, and then in Utah. Utah is, the main game people love to quote, 70% completion percentage, 3 rushing touchdowns. But he had multiple games where we saw a 33% completion percentage. This is against FSU. He completed 9 passes. We have a game where against South Carolina, he had a 47.8 completion percentage, only 11 completions. Against Georgia, 48.6. Against Tennessee, 54.5. Against USC, 55.6. Against Kentucky, he had a 40% completion percentage. We see multiple games where he's just not able, or he's not completing a lot of passes, and that could be a concern. However, with all this raw ability and a lot of these tools, but not very experienced, and not that much production on the field, I still think he has humongous potential at the next level, and I think people possibly they say he's too inexperienced to be at the NFL level. Meanwhile, I think he's a little bit more pro ready than some say. I think he has a lot of the intangibles that people are looking for with the pocket mobility and great awareness. He can read the field. He can go through his progressions, which is sought after, especially the quarterback. But where he's going to need a great quarterback coach to teach him up and to, get his footwork correct and to be a more consistent deep passer. But let's look at this great throw. Oof. Right into the receiver's shoulder. Sorry about the quality of this video, but this is a great high leverage throw from Anthony Richardson to the back half of the shoulder of number 4 on Florida. This is right over Keely Ringo, who is he has a late first round grade in my opinion, but the quality kind of doesn't do it justice. Very good throw. Here's a great play showing deception that Anthony Richardson does. He's eyeing down number 15 and this on the right side of the field. Meanwhile, the whole time he's looking at number 16. Looking at it again. Just moves more to the right side. Linebacker over here starts moving and clears out the middle of the field so that you can get the completion. This is, of course, the iconic play versus Utah where where Anthony Richardson is able to fake out 2 defenders at the same time, rolls out, and completes the 2-point attempt. Listen, I'm asking, how many quarterbacks in the league do you think can do this? I know possibly 3. This is Anthony Richardson's running ability on full display. I mean, just rolls out, nothing happens, leaves the blocker, and sprints through 2 defenders, jukes 1 defender out, and then the contact balance, breaking tackles, showing off that 4.4 speed, and just going all the way for the touchdown, over 60 yards here. He's an elite runner. It's very easy to see that, and that's probably going to translate to the next level, and QB power is going to be a fun play that teams are probably going to run if they select him. Here's a phenomenal throw by Anthony Richardson here. Very clean pocket. And over here we can see it's right over the receiver's shoulders. But this is a great angle here. Anthony Richardson, pre-snap, play action, rolls out. And then just kind of even off the back foot. Massive, massive arm that he has. And then just completes it so easily. Now that I've shown all his highlight tape, I'm going to show, his negatives. All right, so here we're looking at him on an out route to this receiver here. Number 4. Not a great throw, overthrows him, looking at a different angle. All right, from this angle, we can see what actually happens in this throw, what happens here. So Anthony Richardson, the pole is kind of blocking it, but he's throwing off of his front foot and his stand up. He's not leading into this throw. He's not, putting air on it. And we can see why that mechanics are off, so the throw is high and inaccurate. All right, here's another bad mechanic. Anthony Richardson fading out down to the sideline and throws an incomplete pass to number 14. And then another throw here, same issue as the first play, off of his back foot, stand up straight, not able to complete that pass. But then a few plays later, Anthony Richardson is able to make a play that not many other quarterbacks can make. Let me just let the play speak for itself. I mean, Jesus. How many quarterbacks are able to evade not only one defender, but then move back, throw off of an off angle, and the backside, still make that completion? All right, this is a play that scouts in the NFL are going to like. This is 3rd and 15 against South Carolina. Anthony Richardson making a pre-play adjustment. And he throws a dart into the middle of the field to get that first down. And this is what I was talking about the relative athletic score. Anthony Richardson, perfect 10. This is still unofficial, though. But, I mean, he's got a larger arm length than Peter Skronsky, some people's offensive tackle 1. He's 6'4", 244 pounds, all elite. And then he had the combine record for the vertical and the broad jump. And then, of course, he had the second fastest 40-yard dash for a quarterback ever at 4.44. And he had an elite 10 and 20-yard split, 1.6, which was in the 95th percentile, and then a 2.58 for the 20-yard split, which was in the 99th percentile. Listen, elite running athlete, elite running quarterback. But I really hope that he gets that throwing mechanics down and that he gets a good quarterback coach at the next level, because then Anthony Richardson might be a special, special talent. All right, let's look at my player comp. My player comp build-wise is Cam Newton, and athletically-wise is Cam Newton. I don't really have a real quarterback comp for Anthony Richardson, but I mean Cam Newton is the closest one that a lot of people can get to purely based on their athletic running and build. There's similarities, of course, the build. Anthony Richardson, 6'4", 244 pounds. Cam Newton, 4 pounds heavier, 1 inch taller. They're both generational running quarterbacks. Cam Newton, coming out of Auburn, was a phenomenal running quarterback. And then in the NFL, we all know how he was. He was an MVP, multiple All-Pros, went to the Super Bowl, broke the rushing touchdown record. They both have cannons for arms. Anthony Richardson can throw 60 yards down the field with ease, and so could Cam Newton. And then Richardson compared himself to Cam Newton in an interview, I think with CBS, and they're both big plays waiting to happen. They're both must-see TV, especially Anthony Richardson at Florida, and then Cam Newton at the Panthers. But they both have drastic differences. Now, Cam Newton was a Heisman winner and a national championship winner in college. Meanwhile, Anthony Richardson struggled massively, and he only had 1 year, of course. Cam Newton was on that Miami team, went to JUCO, became the best JUCO player in the nation, and then went to Auburn. Cam Newton was far more accurate, had a completion percentage of 66 in college. Meanwhile, Anthony Richardson was 10 lower, and they both had different hype out of college. Cam Newton was touted as the number 1 prospect and then went number 1 overall. Meanwhile, Anthony Richardson stock has been growing and growing as, we've gotten closer to draft year. And Anthony Richardson is a big project. Cam Newton really, I don't think, needed as much development as Anthony Richardson does at the next level. And finally, I'm going to be giving my grade for Anthony Richardson. I have him as a late first-round grade after I've done my film review, player review, all my stuff. I think I've come to the conclusion that he is a late first round, and his potential does bring this up a lot. As a player, I had him as a second-round grade for the majority of the NFL regular season, and it's been going slightly up ever since. I don't think I'll go over late first round in the end. But he is an extremely risky prospect. If you saw my other 2 videos, I had Will Anderson and Jalen Carter as blue chips. I have Anthony Richardson as an extremely risky prospect with that hazard sign. He's a potentially boom or bust quarterback. He could either be a top 10 quarterback, generational running quarterback, a difference maker, a franchise changer, or he could not pan out at all. We could be 2 years from now saying, why did this team take him in the top 10? He's already 2 years and hasn't produced at all. All right, the likely teams to draft, I have the Colts with Steve Steichen. He just came from the Eagles and was offensive coordinator of Jalen Hurts. We saw how well his potential went. We have the Seattle Seahawks, Pete Carroll, quarterback whisperer. Geno Smith had a phenomenal year, broke multiple franchise records, and he's had experience with Russell Wilson, who was another really good running quarterback out of Wisconsin. We have the Carolina Panthers. They have Frank Reich. I really love Frank Reich as an offensive coach. That would be an extremely fun tool for them. And plus, they also, that's where Cam Newton came from, and they're also in the top 10. And then I have the Baltimore Ravens as a sneaky pick, just in case they trade up heavily, and if Lamar Jackson doesn't come, they already have experience with a running quarterback who went in the first round. They could transform Anthony Richardson into a potential top 10 quarterback similarly. All right, so that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know other prospects you want me to go over, and I'll see you in the next one.